We're holding simulation in Zion, Sif Gimel. It's share number 15. We're going to try the 15 and 16 today. Sif Gimel. Elohim Dvarim HaMasif and Hevel. These are the things that add Hevel. We said in last week's share that there's a difference between Moisef Hevel and something that's not a Moisef Hevel. So Moisef Hevel is also even Erev Shabbos, and something that's not a Moisef Hevel is only also on Shabbos. So what's Moisef Hevel? Elohim Advarim HaMoisif and Hevel Pseilos Shal Zeisim. You have the leftovers, the garbage of the Zeisim, Shal Shumshemin, or from sesame seeds, the Zevel, and any type of garbage, or Melach, salt, the Sid, the Choil, this type of sand and mud. Bein Lachem, Bein Yeveshim. All these things, if they're wet, if they're dry, they're Moisef Hevel. Now, a lot of things we can understand them, give off its own heat. Pseilos Shal Zeisim, Shumshemin, Zevel, these things give off their own heat. The other things, Choil and Sid, these things that when you make them hot, they get very hot, so now they give off heat. So I asked a question before, if it makes it hotter than the pot was till now. I don't know, love Dafka. It's
even cold,
yeah, the way it happens is if it sits and it rots, it gives off heat. Garbage, if you let garbage sit, it gives off heat. When you have garbage, you can feel heat coming from it. It sits for a while. The things that decompose give off heat. So these things, they have their own source of heat, but choil and sid, these type of things, you put a hot pot on it, so sand gets very hot, and if sand sits in the sun, right, it gives off its own heat. So these things give off their own heat, bein lach and bein yeveshim. The teven, the zagin, teven and zagin are like
Solid shel yekev yain.
What?
Solid shel yekev yain.
That's zagin.
Zagin.
Yeah, but teven is straw. Regular straw. Muchel, basove muchel is what hesitates muchel?
Davarach kegon tzemer gefen.
Yeah, it's the shears of the animal, of the wool. Basovim bisman sheshloshtam lachen. These things, when they're wet, then they are moisef hevel. When they're not wet, they're not moisef hevel. So the Magen Avraham speaks out. What's a shloshtam lachen? Let's see Magen Avraham test first. Eluhein kupo shel tzemer shetoman bo also lanicha al gabe gefer shel zeisim. So this is something else. You have a kupo shel tzemer is tzemer is wool, and you've matmin a pot in it. Shetoman bo also lanicha al gabe gefer shel zeisim. So in the mechaber we're not mechaber between gefer shel zeisim or gefer shel shumshemin. It's the same thing. The Magen Avraham says there is a difference. What's the difference? That if you take a kupo shel tzemer and you put it on top of gefer shel zeisim, shemala hevel is also. Aval nichal gefer shel shumshemin shari. We'll see in Sif Ches that you now be matmim medover ha-moisef hevel, even Erev Shabbos, but even if only the bottom is moisef hevel, and the pot is mutman, is something she'ein moisef hevel, and you put it on top of the moisef hevel, that is also Erev Shabbos. That's called mutmim medover ha-moisef hevel, even if only the bottom is moisef hevel, but if the top is fully covered, then it's called Dover HaMoisef Hevel. So if you have a kupa shel tzemer on top of a gefer shel zeisim, it's also because it's called Moisef Hevel. Masha Kain, if you have that on top of a kupa of a gefer shel shumshemin, then it's mutter. So that's one difference between zeisim and shumshemin. Yud shloshtam lachem tzarich leimar the chashav leteven v'zagin tichada. Why does it say three things? It says teven, zagin, muchel, and asavim. There's four things. It says as much as shloshtam. These three things are wet, then the moisef hevel. Why is there only three? It should be four. So we have to say the chashav the teven v'zagin tichada. Ubemes berambam lahiske teven. The Rambam doesn't mention the word teven, and because he includes it in zagin. Fine. Now the Magen Avraham says when midas sasam, the mechaber you have to put a period. I'm not sure if the new ones have a period after the word teven. The old ones don't, but there should be a period after the word teven, and it's a new thing now. Umidas sasam shma minad afilu lachin machmas davarachar aser. These things, it's a whole shayla in the Gemara. I'm not going to go through the whole sugya, But the whole Shabbos Sugya, these things, they could be wet by themselves. Lachem machmas atzman. Semer can be wet from the animal itself. It gives off heat, it gets wet, and it gets wet, the semer. So the Gemara has a shayla if it's lachem machmas atzman or machmas davaracha. So the Magen Avraham says over here that since the mechaber is not mechalik, how it got wet, is mashma any way it got wet, it's called a moisef hevel, even if it's machmas davaracha. So those are the things that are moisef hevel, ve'elu dvarim she'em moisef hevel, ksus, clothing, upeiris, the kanfei yoina, and the feathers of a yoina, hago, ishan roitzis, any other type of feathers. These things are all ein moisef hevel. The urish al pishtin and strings of linen, and the sayush al charoshem is the sawdust. Pirish al kash hadak and leifam and the eitz, kishemegar oitze b'magera. When you saw it, it's sawdust. All these things are ein moisef hevel. So what we have today, anything we're going to be matmin or kedera in today, basically is called ein moisef hevel. If you put towels or stuff or the cloth, the only thing today that could be a moisef hevel is silver foil. If you wrap something in silver foil, that may be called a moisef hevel, but lav dafka. Haga, yes, oivim the mutter lahatmin b'sloim. You're allowed to be matmin in slime, which is rocks. Even though it's moisef hevel, the milsad l'shchicha l'gazru b'rabanan. Something that's not shchiach, the rabbanan were not geyser in such hatmana. Says the Magen Avraham, Yirala b'slam l'shchicha klal sheyatim b'slam mishum shemishablim hakadera, breaks the kadera, or shemekalkalin ha-Michel, or it ruins the Michel. Aval davar shel pa'amim taimin b'hem afagav l'shchiach gazru b'rabanan. The rabbanan made a gzeira. So the truth is, you have to know what this Ramah means. You're not be matman in Islam because people aren't matman in Islam because it ruins the Kedera. How about something that now became the derech to be matman in it? That means when the Chacham made the Gezerah, no one was matman in it. But today people are matman in it. Is there a Gezerah of that or not? So the Pashas from the Ramah is mashma that it's not telling you when they made the Gezerah the Chatchila. Right? The Magen Avraham says, meaning, even today, if it's something that people are sometimes matman in it, then the Rabbanan still made a gzeira on it. Even though in those days they weren't matman in it, but today, since people are matman in it, the Rabbanan made a gzeira. And the reason why I'm speaking this out is because we'll see later on that you can't be matmin in a salad. One of the hatayim later on, Sif Chesa is that if you matmin on the oven, on the kira itself, the kira itself is hot from the gecholim. You took out all the coals, now the kira is hot. So if you put something on it and they cover the top, it's called a matmin of davar moisef hevel. One of the hatayim over there is because you can't be matmin in the kira itself. The kira is the moisef hevel. So you can't be matmin in the walls of a kira, it's impossible. Therefore, there's a heter later on at Sif Ches. That heter is only if a kira is something you're not matmin in. You can't use that heter for our crockpots today. You put something in metal, you're not matmin in metal. It's not true. Today, they make things that go up on the sides, and you're matmin in it. So you can't say that today that to put something on something that's hot, a hot plate, and cover on top with begadim, it's mutter because you're not matmin into the hot plate. I don't know if you can say that today, because today we are matmin in hot plates. They make them with the walls coming up on the side, which is called a crack pot, and you are matmin in that. So you have to remember this, that even though we'll see later on that on a salad there's no gzeira of atmana, it could be today's days that thing changes. And we'll get to it later on. See if
You mentioned before aluminum foil. When you look at hatmana, it has to be completely enveloped.
Right, so that we'll see.
So if you just put it on the top, that's not hatmana?
So we'll see in Sif Ches. There's a Mishnah Berurah that speaks it out. It depends what you're doing. If you matmin in davar moisef hevel, the thing itself is moisef hevel. The halacha is that if the Mishnah Berurah is mashma ad chetze, till half, of it could be inside, as long as the top is open, more than half is open, it's not called hatmana. According to the Ashkenazim. According to the Sephardim, hatmana is even if just the bottom is hot. We'll see in simulation of Ches. But if you matim with davar ha-moisef hevel, you put something into something that's moisef hevel, then it has to be ad chetzi. Till half is not called hatmana. Past half already may be called hatmana. So if you take silver foil, which is the moisef hevel, if you say silver foil is moisef hevel, and you wrap it up, even if just the top is uncovered, it may be an issue.
No, but that's the other way around. You're using it as a cover. You're using it as a kisui.
Yes, that's something else.
Now the question is, because you put it now that it's going half, but it's going down from the top down to down.
Yes, so that we had last week in Steve Bays. If you're not doing it for atmana, it's mutter no matter what.
So
you're putting a silver foil to cover it.
And covering it?
Yeah, if you're covering it because you want it to be covered, not because you want to contain the heat.
No, but that's different. You have a schnitzel that that's the case that you put it on a kedera. Here you're talking about that you have it in an aluminum pan. You're actually, the question is, by covering the pan as a cover, you have an aluminum pan, you have aluminum foil on top.
That's called a kedera with a lid.
Correct. So is that a kedera with a lid, or does it get it
with a lid.
No, but that's not atmana. That's not atmana.
I'm asking what. So I
no,
want to understand.
Atmana is you have to be
cover. I assume it's like a cover.
Yeah.
Like a pot.
Yeah. You have to be matmin the pot. After you cover, you finish covering the pot, you matmin the pot. Here, by putting this aluminum foil over a tin, there's no atmana yet. You didn't start atmana.
That's the kisui.
That's the kisui, yeah. That's the kisui. After you had a hot food, let's say, if you have cold food and you cover it with silver foil, there's no problems in itself. If you take that and you put it on top of a pot, then it could be an issue. Because now you have a heat source from the bottom, and even if silver foil is not davar ha-moisef hevel, and Sif Ches will see, that's still awesome. Right? Sif Ches says if you have the bottom is the heat source, and the top is just mutmin, even be'ein ha-moisef hevel, then it's awesome. So if you cover something with silver foil, and you put it on top of a davar ha-moisef hevel, so the bottom is a moisef hevel, the top is a moisef hevel, let's say, it's awesome. Unless
say something and put it on the kedera, because that'll be kedera on a...
Doesn't make a difference. If the bottom is hot, it's a moisef hevel. It could be a kedera gaba, doesn't make a difference. As long as the bottom is hot, so it's a moisef hevel now.
That's why we said when you do that, you should make sure it's open a little bit. The tin foil should be open.
Right, so if you're doing it to keep the heat in, then it's an issue. Yeah. If you wrap something in a... No, it's only if you wrap food in a tin foil. If you take the silver foil, the tin, and you cover it, that's not atmana at all.
Right.
Yeah. If you're taking food and you're covering the food because you want it to stay hot, then you should leave it open. But if you're covering the food because you don't want it to spill it all over the place, then it's not a problem.
So your kugel on Shabbos, that's on a proper...
Your kugel on Shabbos, that's a...
on top of that, you have it with an aluminum foil on top of that.
On top of your kugel?
Yeah, that's not considered...
That's not a problem at all.
But if you wrap that, then you may have a problem.
Right. If you're wrapping that for hatmana to keep the heat, then you have a problem. If you're wrapping it because it's going to leak out, it's not a problem. If you wrap that and you put it on top of the crock pot or top of the pot, whatever it is, then it's a problem. Okay, Sif Dalet. Even though on Shabbos you're not allowed to be tayvin a fil b'davar she'ein moisef hevel, im tamam by ba'od yom v'niskalam v'shechashecha muter lachzer v'lechasoisai. So the halacha of atmana is that you're not allowed to do atmana on Shabbos. But if you're doing atmana erev Shabbos and then opened up on Shabbos, even though everything came off, and you want to rewrap it, it's not a problem. So it's not called atmana. Let's look at that as chazara of Reish and Gimel. Look at it as like chazara. Right, chazara, Reish and Gimel, you take it off the fire, you're allowed to put it back on. You have Tanai chazara. Taking something out of the hatmana and putting it back into the hatmana is also mutter. So it doesn't make a difference if you took it out of the hatmana and put it back in, or you took away the hatmana and you did a new hatmana on it. Doesn't make a difference.
That's only if it was matmin beheter though.
Right. If you're matmin beheter, you're allowed to continue that hatmana no matter what. So after anytime Michel the full davar ein moisef hevel, im tamam by yom v'neskalam v'shechashecha muter lachzer v'lechasoisai, you're allowed to recover it. If you want to add more
Coverings.
More coverings of Einai Moisef Hevel. A Moisef Hevel is awesome, but Einai Moisef Hevel is mutter. V'chenim Rasa Litla, you want to take it off Kulai. The law says Achabim Kaimoi. You want to put another one in its place. Bein Sherishan Cham Yesem Hasheni. Side the first one, it contains the heat more. Doesn't mean that it's hotter. We're talking about Einai Moisef Hevel. Don't forget. So the Rishon is Cham Yesem Hasheni, means it's thicker and it contains the heat more. Bein Shasheni Cham Yesem Rishon. Afil Lehayim Mechuse Ela B'Sadin. Even though it's only covered with a sadin. The sadin is a thin cloth, and it barely contains the heat. Yechiel l-liyu v'chasoisai b'glufkarin. Glufkarin is a thicker, much thicker thing. So therefore you could change it. So there's an elder Rabbi in simulation test that says that this that you're doing, that you're taking it out, you're changing the hatmana. He says that is like the chazara of Rishon Gimel, and therefore he says you're going to need Tanai Chazara. The Rabbi says you're going to need Tanai Chazara when you're changing this hatmana. Why? Because this hatmana, taking it off and putting it back in, is like Chazara of Shia. Therefore, you can't put on Gabi Karka, and you have to have all the Tanai Chazara that we had in Rishon Gimel. That's what the Rabbi says.
Like the Ran.
He doesn't say. He says you need Tanai Chazara.
How far would you take that? You assume that it goes back to all the Tanai Chazara with the Ramah?
Maybe. The truth is, we could be making this cholkim. Tila David argues. We'll see in Rishon Test. We'll get to more in Rishon Test. There's rayas whether you need Tanai Chazara or not. But you want to know, do you need all the Tanai Chazara, or how far are we going to be machmir? I don't know. We'll see in Rishon Test. Remind me. I just remember the Eliezer Rabbi says you need Tanai Chazara. I don't remember him saying, going into what type of Tanai Chazara you need. He just says you need Tanai Chazara. I should have checked it out before, but it's really based on the test.
It has to be fully hot. It can't be cold at all.
It has to be Reseach. Yeah. Right. Why not? Reseach could work out.
It has to be more than the person covers himself. It has to be more than else.
Right. So Atmana is usually when it's out to others way. You're containing the heat. I'm speaking out just to speak it out, but we'll go more into it. What type of Tanai Chazara you need in Rishon Test? I didn't see the Rabbi this time around. Okay.
What's the Hava mean to say that you should be able to be moisef on Shabbos itself?
More clothing, because we already did the Hatman.
Right, but all the worries that we had from going to right, because it's going to be the next day and all these things, won't that go away because you've already done it now? I mean, you're saying
if you're adding more,
makes it worse.
It makes it worse.
I mean, the Svara says that you're going against what you're.
If you're adding more, you're showing that you want to make it keep it hotter. So you should be chayshish.
Semicha now.
Semicha. The only answer I have for you is that it's only tchilas when you're doing hatmana to begin with. You made the gzera. Once it's done already, you're just adding more. We're not cautious and go ahead take it out of the original one, even though you're switching it. Maybe while you're switching it, you're cautious.
But on the
that's what the Rabbi says. That's why you have to Tanai Chazara. That's why you remember that you're still in the middle of something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the truth is that Rabbi makes sense because otherwise, if
it's a bigger worry now. Now you're going to put something.
And the Chanami. I don't have a clear teretz for that.
But if you had kavana, you see also afterwards talks about kavana, that if you had kavana to do it, then he can do it, even if he want to do it after Shabbat comes in.
You're undoing what you did before.
What?
If he was like it was at Pana, he opened it, and he knew that he is going to cover it later on. He covered it on Shabbos.
No, it's not. We don't pass on that. We'll see soon. We don't pass on that way. We don't pass on. If you look at the Magen Avraham, Yud Beis, with Skalam Cheshecha, Aber in the skalam in ba'od yoim, also the chasoi say b'Shabbos. Let's say you did atmana before Shabbos, the davar she'ein moisef hevel, and then it opened up. And now, on Shabbos, you want to recover it. Says the Mogen Avram, you can't do that. The havalei matman lechatchila. Then it's called hatmana lechatchila b'Shabbos. Even though you did hatmana erev Shabbos, it opened up before Shabbos, you can't do it. It has to be when Shabbos comes in, it is mutman. It is mutman. There's a big machlokes in the Rishonim. I think the sheets go through it a little bit. It's a big machlokes in the Rishonim. In the skalam of ba'od yoim, it's cool. I made hatmana already. So now, who cares if it's uncovered before Shabbos or on Shabbos? It was already mutman, and now I'm just fixing that money that there was already. So we don't pass like the Bach. The Bach says that's mutter. I think it's a Tosfos that says that's mutter. But we pass that it's not mutter. That it has to be that when Shabbos comes in, it is mutman. Even though you did that money before Shabbos, if it opened up before Shabbos, it's ruined. Fine. So that's the first part of the Siva. Who says bashla kadeira kol tzarchai? All this is talking about that it's already cooked. If it's not fully cooked, why? This adding makes it cook. Now, the question here is that we're talking about over here there be matman and bedavar she'ein moisef hevel. Because if it's a moisef hevel, even erev Shabbos you're not allowed to do it. So you have atman over here bedavar she'ein moisef hevel. Says the mechaber, you can't add more ein moisef hevel. Why? If it's not cooked yet, because it may get cooked on Shabbos because of you. Now the obvious question is, how's that going to happen? You have a pot that's hot, you covered it with ein moisef hevel, you're going to add more ein moisef hevel, so what are you going to do? How are you going to make it cook? You can't make it hotter than it was. You can never make it hotter than it was. So how can you be over on bishul?
But that's not the way that bishul really works.
How does bishul work? You have a pot, a hot pot, a boiling hot pot, you cover it with ein moisef hevel.
When you put a pot on the stove, you turn it to number 5.
Yeah.
Right? Water, let's say you're boiling eggs. The water gets up to number 5, to that temperature, and then it stays at that temperature for a while the eggs cook. Right? So the eggs, slowly you reach up to that, right? Okay. So wouldn't that be the same? That you now just...
we have a heat source. No, but it's safe. You have a heat source.
But if you maintain
you take away... You maintain the heat, then what happens?
So when you maintain the heat, it still continues to cook. So it might not cook forever, but it might cook for a little while.
So if I add more clothing, right? More ein moisef hevel.
It's going to retain the same heat for longer.
And therefore it gets cooked.
And then it might cook for a little while.
The source is gone. Source of the heat is gone.
It's going to cook quicker?
It's cooking anyway.
Okay, so this is a machlokes here. The Mogen Avram and the Beis Meir. The Mogen Avram says if you're going to add more ein moisef hevels, you're not going to make it cook. It reaches a certain point of heat, so you can add more ein moisef hevel. So what's going to happen? You can't make it hotter. So how's it possible to make a bishul? That's the Mogen Avram's kash over here. She doesn't understand. So you can add more, and then what? You're not going to make it hotter. So how could you ever cook it? Says the Beis Meir. What do you mean? You add more and you contain the heat that it has already. So then it'll cook. If it's going to cool down, quickly, it won't get cooked. If you contain the heat for a longer period of time, so it'll cook out. It'll end up cooking.
Isn't that a machlokus in the Metzias of how cooking was?
Yeah, l'chayra. It should be. It should be. Yeah, that's it.
So the machlokus is moisef bishul right as they have meaning. It's bishul itself is more intensified. Or is it longer? It's not. Why is it considered moisef bishul to extend the bishul?
Not extending the bishul. If you wouldn't cover it,
extending the bishul.
No, according to Bishul. But the Semicha is saying is if you don't cover it, what's going to end up happening is it's going to cool down quickly and it's not going to get cooked. Take an example. You have eggs in a pot of boiling hot water, right? It needs 10 minutes to cook. You take it off the fire, it's cooling down very quickly, it's not going to have enough time to cook. You wrap it up in something that contains the heat, then what happens is it will stay hot for a long time and end up cooking the eggs. So you're even on Michel. No?
Yeah.
If it's needed 2 hours to cook, it doesn't work. But if you need another 1 minute, maybe it's going to help you.
But that's how oven works. Oven maintains at a steady temperature.
1 minute.
But oven has a source of heat.
I need to maintain the temperature.
Right.
Cooking takes place at a certain temperature for a period of time.
Right.
So if you maintain the temperature for a period of time, you're cooking.
It's cooking. If not, it doesn't cook.
Yeah.
So if it cools down, it doesn't cook. Yeah. Right, that's very stein.
The whole thing is
that's not Moisiv. You're being mavashal. By you wrapping it, you're being mavashal. If you wouldn't wrap it, it wouldn't cook. Now that you wrapped it, it's going to cook.
It has to be in that even according to the base merit, if it was not visual tzarchei, it has to be in cooking. It has to be on a heat source.
Of course. But now you took it off the heat source,
right,
and you wrapped it up. And on Shabbos, you're going to wrap it even more. What's going to happen is you end up cooking because you wrapped it, even though it's any Moisiv Hevel. You have to know what the Magen Avram held. So Magen Avram is bothered by this kasha, and he says, what's the case over here? Look at the Magen Avram Sifkan Yud Gimel. Goyim lam l'spashal poshet. Kishatumuna b'davar she'ein Moisiv Hevel she'ein goyim bishul klal. It's not possible to make bishul because it matmim b'davar she'ein Moisiv Hevel. Elamayri b'derech shekosa b'sivches ayin sham. It must be talking about, well, in the case of sivches, which is a chiddush of the Magen Avram, a very big chiddush of the Magen Avram. In sivches we say, if the bottom is a Moisiv Hevel, you cover the top with ain't a Moisiv Hevel, right? So in sivches we'll see when it's mutter, when it's aser. In certain cases mutter, certain cases aser. So says the Magen Avram, we're talking about such a case. But the bottom was a Moisiv Hevel, the top was mutma medavar she'ein Moisiv Hevel. In the case that it's mutter, so there, if you want to add more, you're allowed to add more.
You're allowed to add more.
Well, if it's going to cook, right? We have to find the case that it's mutter, but if it's going to cook because of it, then you're not allowed to. And what the case is very hard to understand because in Sif Ches, if there's a Moisiv Hevel on the bottom and the top is any Moisiv Hevel, it's also to do it. Elamai took me in the case where let's say there's air in between the pot and the clothing, so it's not for Latmana. That's why it's mutter. So you have to know what the case is according to the Magen Avram. That's a kasha on the Magen Avram. But if you look in the Bir Halacha,
the issue about Latmana is not that we weren't ever afraid that it's going to be causing cooking. We were afraid that we would do something else, right?
Right.
So it's the same situation here. It's not whether it's cooking or not cooking. I mean, it's academic. I mean, we're afraid of.
Right. But the question is it possible that we're going to add more that you end up cooking on Shabbos? That's the Machlokes makes me in the Magen Avram.
Okay, so whether they're adding more.
Right. Here's the question: they're adding more. You're adding more. It says the Mechaber, but you have to be careful. Make sure that you not end up cooking because you're adding more.
Adding more covering.
Coverings, yeah. Or you change it to a thicker covering, whichever one it is. In this Sif, says the Mechaber, be careful that you're not going to end up being mevashal. Says the Magen Avram, how's it possible? You can't be mevashal. So it must be with this heat source on the bottom. But Beis Meir argues, if you look in the Mishnah Brura, the Bir Halacha, that's on page 56. He says, Goyim lo le'espashal. He said, Kosa Magen Avram, Shetmuna b'davar she'ein Moisiv Hevel, Poshet she'ein goyim bishul klal, Alamare b'davar she'kosa b'sivches, v'hainu, she'akadera, ha'medes agabe kira, she'yesh tachtei ha'gecholim, k'tumim, Yilavachi also l'hamid sham ha'mechaber, l'mayla mechutza b'begadim, b'inyan she'ein noigim b'kadera, ch'muvay b'sivches, l'mutter l'hatma b'derech zeh, v'oz goyim bishul ha'idei ha'safas kisri. So what's the case? Where there's air in between the begadim and the pot, and therefore it's mutter. The question is, that's not Latmana. Okay, Kash on the Magen Avram. Says the Bir Halacha, Sefer Beis Meir Chelek Olav, because of the Pashto is at Turba Shechanach Mashma the Mayir Bechol Gavni. The Chen Kosa B'Sefer Nahashalam. Atam Kosa B'Sefer Beis Meir. The Kishematme Medover Reiseach. She'oy Mid B'Risichosoi. Umizbashol. Av shematme medavar she'ein moisef hevel, elama midai b'chame musoi. You're keeping it in its heat, ubisichasai, and it's bubbling, kalsha, shemayre charisicha, as long as you're continuing the heat, v'abishol, mispashal, amaychal yosir, ubaysafa, goyim bishol. That's what the Beis Meir says. It says the Beis Meir, even though it's ein moisef hevel, it's still shaykh to be goyim bishol. Okay.
The issue of nitbashal called sarko, is that bein hashmashon, or is that how you find it? In other words, if you find
how you find it. If it wasn't the special called sarko, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
Bein hashmashon. If now when you come to be matman and more, it's a special called sarko, it's fine.
But in the first half of the sif, when the hatmana becomes zibli, when it opens up, it implies the language here, it happened by itself. Am I right about that?
Correct.
Would you be allowed to lichatchila?
So if you look at, good question, yeah, if you look at the Mishnah Berurah, he speaks about it. In Sifka and Chaf Hey, in the Mishnah Berurah.
Chaf Hey?
Yeah, in the Mishnah Berurah Sifka and Chaf Hey. The skala meshachashecha, mashachasa v'neskala is lav dafka. The ha af lechatchila muta legalos. Even the chatchila you can uncover it. A good deal.
Yeah, ties also.
So, Rabbi, how do you get the situation on Shabbos? You've got something that's matin, that's not fully cooked. Erev Shabbos, you cooked something that wasn't properly cooked. And you
matin and the davar ain't moisef hevel.
That's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hatmana is no problem of being matman with something that's not fully cooked. But davar ain't moisef hevel. Moisef hevel is always also. But davar ain't moisef hevel. You can take something that's not fully cooked and do hatmana. This has nothing to do with Veishon Gimel. The matter of davar ain't moisef hevel. There's no shaykhis to machlokes chananya and derabanan. You take something and it's not fully cooked. It's a little bit cooked, not fully cooked. You want to be matman it? No problem.
But how's it going to stay warm? If it must be soon after, like on Friday night that you're doing this.
Yeah, it's very, very hot by this man. You take it, you wrap it in begadim, and you leave it that way. You hope it'll get cooked out, and then you switch to begadim on Shabbos. And then, if it's not a special called tzarcha, it says the Beis Meir, by rewrapping it, you can do a bishul with your own hands. Yeah, and Sif Hey. In Pina Tavshel Shabbos, Mekaderish Ves Bashel Bolek Der Acheres, Mutalat Mina Bedavar She'ein Moisef Hevel. This is a sugya Pina Michel Avecham. If you went ahead and you emptied the food from the Kli Rishon and you put it into a Kli Sheni, now you're allowed to do Atmana. Now the obvious question of the next two sifra are going to be, the whole zera of Imat Medavar She'ein Moisef Hevel is that what? You're going to find the Gedera Tzenenes, you find it cold, and you're going to try to make it hot on Shabbos. Therefore, you can't be matmin b'davar she'einay moisef hevel. So here, in Pina Tafshul, you emptied it out to a different pot. Now it's in the klisheni. Now you're allowed to do atmana, even b'davar she'einay moisef hevel. But that be matmin b'davar she'einay moisef hevel. The obvious question is, here there's more of a chashash. If you put it into klisheni, so it's colder, so there's more of a chashash.
Not really, because maybe you're doing it right at the time. The concern was that you're doing it the night before, for the day.
Right.
Therefore, it's a long time. So that's
you want to keep it hot.
That's the svara for atmana, which is different for shehiyah. But if you're pouring it into already a second kli, you're doing it for right now. So therefore,
usually you do it for right now. So why be matmin afterwards? Now you want to be matmin, you could be matmin.
Because there might be a delay that maybe if you're going to right now, but you're going to...
Right, but now there's less of a worry. There's less of a worry. What are you worried about? That it's going to cool down, right? You're worried that what? It's going to cool down.
And then you're going to go ahead.
You're going to be in Semicha.
Yeah.
Not if you're going to be, the whole din, at least the way we understand.
Right, but why being re-matmin for now?
Maybe your son didn't come home from shul yet.
So tonight the same.
No, you're waiting a few more minutes. You have to wait.
Maybe you're doing this for now, not for tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a big difference in what you're waiting for. So there, you're not going to come on to Semicha.
That's a teretz. Teretz, I think is what you mean to say. The answer is that when you take a Klibishon, the derech du atmana, you take a Klibishon and you matman it for tomorrow. When I'm pouring it to Klisheni, obviously, I'm not keeping it for tomorrow. And the Lashon Gemara is that when I'm oisik, when I'm busy with making it cold, I'm not going to make it hot. So what are you doing atmana for? The answer is, once I poured it from a Klibishon to a Klisheni, then I was doing something to cool it down. So then the whole atmana falls off. Yeah, the whole atmana falls off. Even though now I want to be matman it, doesn't make a difference. The whole atmana falls off.
So why couldn't you be matman it in Shabbos Shemosif Hevel?
She'ein Mosif Hevel?
No, the Shemosif Hevel.
What, Erev Shabbos? No, our Shabbos is never matman Mosif Hevel.
Even if the all the Chashim fall away?
Even if all the Chashim fall away, yeah.
That's you do want to do that. Right.
Mosif Hevel, yeah, Mosif Hevel is always also.
You wanted to heat it up.
Yeah, Mosif Hevel. I'm thinking now, if you pin a Michel Erev Shabbos, also it's also by Mosif Hevel. Mosif Hevel is always also.
Right.
This hat is only by any Mosif Hevel. So in Pina Atafshel b'Shabbos Mekdeish and Spashel b'Mekdeir Acheres, Mutter la'atmina b'davar she'ein Mosif Hevel. You're allowed to matmit in something that's not a Mosif Hevel. Says the Moreh Avram, Yedalit, Mutter la'atmina k'may davar hatzainin, she'le'asa l'hatmin el davar cham, she'hoy b'chlevishayin she'nezbashel b'oi. Aval in pinuhu mutter. If you're changing it, then it's mutter. The truth is, this is really, you really see Sivav right away. This is built on Sivav. Sivav says, mutter lahatmin b'Shabbos davar tzainin. You're allowed to take a cold thing and be matmin it on Shabbos, but davar she'ein Mosif Hevel. Kadesh lo yitztanen b'yosin. They shouldn't get even colder. Or kadesh a tafik tzinos, so take away you want to warm it up a little bit. It's very cold. You wrap it in begadim. So now you're taking away the chill from the food. That you could do. Abu Davar Mosif Hevel, I feel the hat with Sain and Gomer, I feel the Vaidiyam Nami Yasser. Mosif Hevel is always Yasser. So take a cold thing and be matmin it on Shabbos as mutter.
What's the definition of cold?
Oh, we'll see what the definition of cold is in a second. But if take a cold thing, let's say cold. It's mutter to be matmin on Shabbos. Why? If you're going ahead and be matmin it, maybe it's more of a chashash. So you want to warm it up. To put it to keep it to be matmin. Teretz says no. The Gzeira is only on a Klibishon. That usually when you took a Klibishon, you matmin it, you did atmana to keep it warm. But no one takes a cold thing and to matmin it that should become very hot. You don't do that. So it wasn't a derech to be matmin something cold to make it very hot. If you matmin a cold thing, usually you matmin it just to keep it that temperature. So there's no chashash that you go ahead and make it hot. That's the head of a davar tzayin. So the same thing, pinim amechem lemechem. You pour it out from klisheni into klisheni. On a klisheni, they never made the gzeira of hatmana. Says the Moreh Avram, Yedalit, right? Mutlat milek my davar tzayin shle asla hatman el davar cham shay b'klisheni shesbashu ba ipnu muter. U'mitam zeh nira dafilu hachzira leklisheni nami shari. If you put it back into the Klibishayim, it's still mutter. The Kvar Loy Din Klibishayim doesn't have a Din Klibishayim anymore. Once you emptied something from a Klibishayim into the Klibishayim, you put it back into the Klibishayim, it's not called the Klibishayim anymore, it's mutter. Now, Veloy Dom the Mashkot Simulation Gimel Si Beis, the Gora Akin Shapinam and Meichem Lemechem, the Hosaim, Haine Timer, the Osla Nicha Gabakir Lechatchila. In Simulation Gimel, we say it's the opposite. You pour it into a Mecham, then it's worse. Because there, the problem is that's called now, you pour it from a Klibishon into a Klisheni, and then you put it back into the Klibishon, you can't put it back on anymore. Why? Because there, that's called the Lesin Lechatchila. Once you pour it into Klisheni, you mavatul its original Shehiyah. Mashenke Kishahu, B'Gdei Rishayna, Havale Chazara, B'Shari. If it's still in the first pot, it's called Chazara, it's Mutter. Mashenke Kan, the Kshapirin Havale Tzainin, and it didn't say a mutter latminoi. And therefore it's mutter to be matminit. Ve'efshe says the Moreh Avram, that Philip b'Klibishayim, in the scatter tzas, shari latminoi. V'ayim asher ksapit simeshin chesiv dalet. Says the Moreh Avram, even in the Klibishayim, if it cooled down a little bit, it's not on its hottest point, then you're not to be matmin it. So what does it mean the skarik tas? How much? Went down on a few degrees. So if you look in the Mishnah over here, Mishnah speaks out that it has to be niskarer till it's not yatzal this way anymore. If you look at Mishnah Sif Cotton Chavches in Pino, he goes through the whole thing, and then it says towards the end by the Chavtes of the Sharatzi, it says Afilu Bukli Rishain in the skarer Aj Ein Hayatzal Letters boy Gam Kein Nirib the Shari Latminoi Imu B'Mokam Atzerich. So the Magen Avraham says that if it's a skarer from a Kli Rishain, it's also mutter. It can't be there was 150 degrees and now it's 120 degrees, now it's 110 degrees. It's not good enough. It has to go down till it's not yad to let this by anymore. And then it's mutter to be matter. Okay. Sivav, mutter lahatam b'shabbos davar tzaynim b'davar she'en matzav hevel, v'deish leitzayim b'yoysin, like the shdafik tzinosoy, abadavar ha'moysiv hevel, afil lahatmin tzaynim gomer, afil m'vaydyim nami yosin. To matmin a cold thing, even in m'vaydyim, but davar she'en matzav hevel is always, but davar ha'moysiv hevel is always offered even before Shabbos. Says the Magen Avraham, mutter lahatmin afil adam choshev shari. So the Gemara has a half a minute that Adam Chashuv is not going to be matmin, even a davar tzaynim, because people are going to see him being matmin, they're going to think he's being matmin a davar cham, and they're going to go ahead and do hatmana even by davar cham, even by hatim. The Ma'aser we hold that even Adam Chashuv can go ahead and be matmin a davar tzaynim. Person, if people look at what he does, has to be more careful what he's doing. So if people may look at it and think that it's davar cham and hatmana is mutter, there's a half a minute in the Gemara that it's also, the Ma'aser we hold that it's mutter.
Does it make a difference if it's mamish sonny, like ice cream?
For what?
If you do have mamish with the davar mosif havel to soften ice cream?
No. Davar mosif can't. Davar mosif havel
you could.
Yeah. Tiny you could. One more thing I want to speak out of him so I can find it. Yeah. This is not here, it's a Mishnah later on. It's simulation of Ches. What does it mean to matmin tzaynim b'davar she'ein mosif hevel? Take a cold thing, you matmin it in something that's not a mosif hevel. What does it mean not a mosif hevel? Till now we had mosif hevel that it was hot, but something that gives off heat. So you want that cold thing, and you want to be matmin it something that's a little hotter than the cold thing itself. Right? You want to be matmin it's something that's a little colder than the cold thing itself. The Mishnah says in simulation of Ches that what's called matmin b'davar ha'mosif hevel in this situation, anything that's going to add some heat right away is also. Anything that's going to add some heat to a davar tzaynin is also. Mishnah says afilu ein acham kol kach sheyuchal davar liyatzal letters boy to b'Shabbos le'yitiru l'hatmel tzaynin ela kadei shetafik tzinotzai. So anytime you have something that's cold and it's going to add some type of heat to it, even a drop of heat, it's awesome. That's called matmin, not shetafik tzinotzai. That is to be moist of some type of heat. So let's say you have a warm blanket, let's say. You have a matmin something cold in it to make it a little bit warmer, it's awesome. Even though it's not going to get this boy.
You can, no. Blanket retain heat. You cannot tap
no, it can make it warmer.
The chill. What you doing? You just said you can do it if you want to.
Yeah, you want to there's no heat to the blanket. No heat at all. You're just wrapping it.
To do what?
To take away. Yeah, what's the line?
Ice cream would be a good example.
Yeah, but the Mishnah says that anytime it's moist, any type of heat,
right,
then it's awesome.
Okay.
So you take something freezing cold,
yeah,
and you take even a room temperature blanket and you put it around it,
it's going to be a problem.
No, actually,
right? But it's not that way. How you tafik to nothing? How means you're taking away the chill? How are you doing that? It has to be.
Yes, you're adding
cover to retain the chill.
You cannot take chill out. You can add.
It's a good question. What's the line exactly? What's the line exactly?
But if you put the
ice again, you cannot
cover it.
Chill.
It's going to be more cold.
Chill is not something you can take out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Because it says anything that's tafik to nasai, right? What happens? You have something that's very cold, right? Let's say it's a 0 degrees Celsius, right? So you want to make it a little warmer. You want to make it, it shouldn't be so cold. It's edible. It's too cold the way it is now. So you wrap it in a begadim, takes away the chill. But that's being moisef chaim, you're saying.
Yeah.
Could we call moisef chaim? So what's the gedder exactly?
You can't take out chill.
I understand. When something is hot and you're going to be moisef chaim, that's mutter.
Something is hot.
Something that is already hot.
No, it's already mutmin.
What?
It's already mutmin.
Yes.
Here it's not mutmin. Here you want to take something cold and be mutmin on Shabbos. So to tafik to nasa is mutter. To take away chill is mutter. But Michel says that anytime you add any type of heat, it's awesome.
But that is
a little bit of a Spiro.
Yeah, that is adding heat.
But if you cover with the blanket, nothing will happen.
Again, you cannot take out chill.
Yeah, it says in the Michel here. Cannot.
You're saying, of course, it can't be mostly heavy, but regular blanket room temperature, that doesn't contradict this.
It does.
Why?
It doesn't, because it's not adding. It's not adding anything.
Of course it is. If you've got a thing of a tub of freezing cold ice cream, that's
no, but he's right. He's saying good. He's saying good. When you take a blanket and you wrap it around the ice cold thing, the blanket's not giving off any heat. The blanket's not giving off any heat to warm up the thing.
Yes,
right? It's not giving any heat.
what they're doing.
No. When you wrap yourself in a coat, right? The coat's giving you heat in the winter.
Your body...
You retain cold if you cover up the ice. With the blanket, you're going to retain the cold.
If you're insulating the cold, it's not going to warm up so quickly.
The blanket's going to be...
Right. Okay, so that's fine. That's tafik to nasa. That's tafik to nasa. If you leave it... No, you wrap something up. You wrap something freezing cold up, and it's what happens? Why does it get warmer quicker?
It doesn't.
It doesn't?
Because you're insulating it. You're stopping the heat from coming in. You're trapping the cold in there.
Yeah, it may stay cold longer.
Yeah, it's going to stay cold.
Stay cold longer?
If you put it
so where's the Mishnah Tafik Sinasai?
Stay icy there.
So where's the Mishnah Tafik Sinasai?
To remove the chill means the temperature has to come up at least a little bit.
Yeah, but you're not using anything hot. You're using just a blanket or something.
So you keep the cold
inside. Lying in the sun.
No, if the blanket's lying in the sun and it's hot, and you're wrapping it up, that's what the Mishnah Berurah says is also.
That's also.
That's giving off heat. Even though it's not yet to let this boy, anything that's giving off heat is also. That's what the Mishnah Berurah says. Yeah. That's what the Mishnah Berurah says.
So you're saying it's going around room temperature? It's all
maybe, I guess so. I guess I'd say it's room temperature. If there's anything that gives off any heat, it's also. If it's not giving off any heat, just putting it in it, that should
But it's making
cool
the
down.
heat inside the blanket.
Yeah,
if you're taking ice cream and putting it inside a blanket,
it's going to stay cold.
No, it will not go stay cold. It will become hot in 2 seconds.
All right, we have to figure this out. I'm not sure exactly. That's the klal. The klal is if you're keeping it to take away the chill, it's mutter. If it gives off any heat, it's awesome. To figure out the exact science, I'll do that for the island.
Okay.
Okay, Siv Zion. Kol heicha dasvina tomorrow. We did Siv Zion already, so we'll try to do it quickly. Kol heicha dasvina tomorrow. Anytime we ask tomorrow, afilu b'kdeira mevushelas kol tzorcha asvinon v'afilu mitztamei piraloi. Anytime we ask tomorrow, meaning whether it's erev Shabbos, whether it's on Shabbos, doesn't make a difference what the pot is. Afilu b'kdeira mevushelas kol tzorcha asvinon afilu mitztamei piraloi. We know that Reish Gimel we said. Mitztamek v'raloi, shehiyah is mutter. Here, erev Shabbos, we now be matmim medavar on moisav hevel. It's even if it's mitztamek v'raloi, it's awesome. Doesn't make a difference. The same thing on Shabbos, medavar she'eina moisav hevel will be the same thing. Hagar, v'chein iker. But v'yesh makilin v'oimim. Some people make them. They say the kosher chay legamri, anything that's raw or in a special called tzarchai or it's fully cooked. Mutter b'atmana k'moi b'shia. Shia and atmana are the same thing. The same way by shia v'mata kidr chaysa. For atmana also. So the mechaber the Ramah basically is: do we say atmana is more chomerdik than shehiyah, or do we? Ramah says yesh makilin that shehiyah, the atmana is just like shehiyah. It's not more chomerdik. But finishes off the Ramah. But we should be knowing like that at Shamar Kaimis. But kids to the Ramah, it says it should be machmer like the mechaber that hatmana b'davar ha'moisef hevel is also even if it's b'stamik v'rala, always also. But the Ramah, when he says the matirim, what does he say? Or in a special called tzarchoi mutter b'hatmana. Why? Hatmana and Shia are the same thing. The obvious question is, by Shia we know, the Ramah Paskins, it's a mutter Michel ben Derasai. Here, the Ramah says, the special called tzarchoi. It says the Magen Avram.
That isn't Michel ben Derasai. Yeah.
The special, oh, skip to Zayin, we'll get back to Zayin soon. The special called tzarchoi, for the das is oimlim afilu in the special called Michel ben Derasai, k'mashakos of sin and Rishon Gimel. Right. So it says the Magen Avram that, yeah, according to the Yeshayimrim in Rishon Gimel, like Hananya, even Kamachah ben Derasai is mutter. But the obvious question is the Ramah paskins like those makilim. So why over here is it saying it's special called tzarchai?
So if you look, the special called tzarchai appears before, it's always implied that it's more than
Kamachah ben Derasai. Yes, special called tzarchai means fully cooked.
Fully cooked.
Fully
so
cooked.
Here it's a chiddush that the Magen Avram is saying that it should be the same as Michel ben Derasai.
Right.
Where does he get that from?
Magen Avram?
Yeah.
Because he's going according to the makilim.
I understand.
Yeah, how do you see that in the Ramah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
Because the lashon, you don't see it anywhere else. That lashon is always.
The special called tzarchai
means the special called tzarchai. Does not mean.
Not the Kamachah ben Derasai, right?
Unless you can see it somewhere else. That's the only thing.
The only thing you could say is the Ramah, when he's saying the Yesh Oimrim, Yesh Makilim, he's saying it in the Shittas HaMechaber.
That's his definition.
He's saying it in the Shittas HaMechaber. The Mechaber said that Atmana is more chomer than Shia. Says the Ramah, the Shittas that hold that Shia and Atmana are the same thing, a different special called tzarchai is mutter, according to the Mechaber. Right, according to the Mechaber Shita. But if you look in the Bir Halacha, it's on page Chav Tes, on this seat, called tzarchai, says Ayin b'Magen Avram, Shekasev Dodasi Yesh Oimrim Afil Nespashal K'Michel ben Derasai. Even with the special K'Michel ben Derasai, also it's mutter. V'Ayin be'Eliezer Shechayim L'Kolov, and the Eliezer said it's not true. Even the Makilim by Hatmana, they're not going to be Michel like Shehiyah. They'll be Michel only the special called tzarchai. V'Ayin b'Tash SHABBOS Mashakasev B'Zeh. Well, the B'Seif Masik Gam Hu. The B'Kavana Nokat HaRamah called tzarchai. The Ramah said called tzarchai, it's B'davka called tzarchai. Even the Shita said that he held in Rishon Gimel the Michel ben Derasai is enough. Here he's going to ask him. Mashmir the Pachas B'Zeh Af B'Mokem Shenoag Ulahakol Yesh Limchais B'Yodem Me'achad L'Gam B'Shia Yesh Deis B'Zeh Ayin Sham.
Do you think that this is the same Bir Halacha that we spoke out before?
Correct.
There's the two, he doesn't want to be signing up on the double.
Correct, that's what he's saying here.
Double kula?
Same thing, yeah.
So he's going back to that Bir Halacha of the Yeshayimrim.
Right, what he's saying here is basically, is that.
But he doesn't still speak it out so clearly.
Right, here he speaks it.
He says it's straight out.
Right. Here it's quoted, he says, Ayin Tash Shabbos.
Right.
But what he means here is
that's the Bir Halacha.
That's the Bir Halacha before. The Bir Halacha in
Yeshayimrim.
Yeshayimrim, yeah. On page Chav Ches. So basically what he's saying here is that even though the Ramah paskins like Hananya in Rishon Gimel, to the Ramah over here, even if we go to Makilim, that Shia and Atmana are the same thing, but he's not going to go with two kulas. That Shia and Atmana are the same thing, and by Shia we paskin like Hananya. That's far the Ramah is not going to go. And that's where the Ramah says over here, B'davka is special called tzarchai. That's what the Biur is saying here. Okay, we skip to Magen Avraham Tezayin. Afilu b'gderim uv'shelas. Says the Magen Avraham, the Stam Atmana. Why? What's the Chumrah of Atmana over Shia? Why should we be more machmer by Atmana over Shia? Says the Magen Avraham, the Stam Atmana l'tzarich mochar. Stam Atmana, you're doing it for the next day. V'tzarich chitui tfei shelo yiskarer. U'ma'at chitui mehani. It needs more chitui that shouldn't cool down, and a drop of chitui works already. V'hachzik achoin. Kiven shehu tomeh, since it's covered. Al v'shia afiluk she'oisel l'tzarich mochar shari l'mehani ma'at chitui. It doesn't help a little bit of chitui by shihiyah, and that's why we're more machmer by hatmana than by shia. Now, there's another Mr. Brewer have to speak out over here. He says this whole machlokes where is it? This whole machlokes. Oh, the wrong page. That's why. Here we are. V'yesh makilin. Look in the Mishnah Berurah Sif Kol Lamed Hey. V'yesh makilin. The makel that shir atmana are the same thing. Says the Mishnah Berurah here. Koi atmana b'davar amoysiv hevel mebayid yoyim. Aval hatmin b'Shabbos b'davar she'einu moysiv hevel. To matman Shabbos is something that's not a moysiv hevel. Afil mebushel kol tzarchai u'mistamek v'ralai oser lekuli alma. This whole machlokes is only by hatmana erev Shabbos b'davar amoysiv hevel. On Shabbos, the davar amoysiv hevel, everything is oser, and everyone agrees to that. There's no machlokes in that.
Sorry, we're saying she'einu moysiv hevel.
On Shabbos, she'einu moysiv hevel. Everyone agrees it's oser. Everything is oser.
And the case we're talking about
is by a moysiv hevel erev Shabbos.
But you can't do that anyway.
It depends what. That's machlokes mechaber the Ramah.
That's the machlokes.
The machlokes says einu moysiv hevel erev Shabbos that you can't do. Is it only by mitztamek v'raloi? Is it even by mitztamek v'raloi? Or is it the same thing as Shia, that it's only by macha ben derasoi or espashal kol tzarchoi?
We learned this as you can't do it b'void yoyim if it's davar she'einu moysiv hevel.
Right.
But that's the way you're learning, because we're learning like the Rabbeinu Tam. We're learning like already, but there's a machlokes.
No, there's no machlokes in that. Everyone agrees.
That's exactly what Mishnah Berurah is saying.
Everyone agrees. There's no machlokes by einu moysiv hevel.
By
Einu moysiv hevel.
There's no machlokes about Tam and Rashbam.
So the machlokes
on Shabbos.
On Shabbos.
Correct. Agreed. The
Erev Shabbos
is on Erev Shabbos.
Erev Shabbos by a moysiv hevel. Yeah. By Erev Shabbos einu moysiv hevel, you can do what you want.
Everybody agrees.
Yeah. Einu moysiv hevel and Erev Shabbos, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
It's only on Shabbos. Moysiv hevel is the machlokes if it's the same thing shir atmana or not.
On Erev Shabbos.
On Erev Shabbos. And don't forget, the moysiv hevel on Erev Shabbos, I'm not putting it in my oven. It's not shehiyah. I'm taking my pot and I'm wrapping it up in choil, in sand. I'm far away from my oven. It's a moysiv hevel. You still have the same dinim as shehiyah. Why? There's no Semicha over here. The answer is yeah. The reason why it can't be matmeh b'davar moysiv hevel is because next week you're going to put it into the cholim and Semicha. But once it's kamacha ben derasoi, there's no Semicha, even if you're going to go ahead and be matmeh meremet. Right? This case of atmana is not in the oven. It could be any place you want. Still, it's a machlokes if it has the gedarim of shia or not. I think I ran out of time. I thought it would go quicker than it went. Ches is going to take us at least a half hour. Anyone want to stick around? I think it's Erev Pesach, huh? Okay, so now we'll continue after Pesach.